All right, we're live right now. It's about to pop on to YouTube. What? Welcome, everybody. I guess this is it. Welcome to the Diversity Hire Comedy Virtual Comedy Festival. Yeah? Is that right? Okay, I'm Terry. Everyone, I'm going to say who's here. Anyone?
I'll
pass it to... Yeah.
I'm Rosna.
Hi, Rosna.
Tress. Oscar.
We should have picked an order. Hi, everybody. I'm Bobby.
We should have gone by like names first, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that
I stepped on you, Bobby. Say it again.
Oh, hey, I'm Bobby. Tawana's next. There you go.
Hi, I'm Tawana Floyd.
Hi, I'm Josephine Leffner.
And we're Diversity Hire Comedy. Thank you guys for joining us. We have a really special guest today who's going to help us through this Q&A session tonight. We have Martin Garcia. He is an amazing improv performer, actor, dancer. You may know him from internet fame, from doing amazing dance videos, looking at dance history, if you will, the oeuvre of dance throughout the years. He's been seen on such hit shows as ER, Blackish, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Fresh Off the Boat, Ray Donovan, Get Shorty, a bunch of great shows and commercials and all kinds of things. He is near and dear to our hearts because he is one of the people that helped bring this group together through the Bob Curry NBC Universal Second City Fellowship. Woo, lots of words.
We did it.
We got it. So without further ado, I want to bring and introduce Martin Garcia to the stream tonight. Air horn.
Thank you. Goodbye.
He's still funny.
Hey, Martin.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hey.
Oh, guys. Sorry. Hi, y'all.
Hey.
Y'all. 'Cause I lived in Austin, Texas for most of my life, and y'all feels good to me. I like y'all.
Y'all.
I like it.
We like
Well,
y'all too.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite contractions. All right, so we're here to celebrate you guys. It's so fun. I gotta say, it's lovely to see that something I always try to tell people, whether I'm teaching them or whether I'm directing their shows or whatever, is start to do your own stuff, because that's where we are right now. And I think it's always it's so much easier to do that now, so get your stuff out there, find people that you like working with, make things, because I just think it's so important, otherwise, sometimes I feel like that I should be making more, and that's that's fine too. I mean, but I think that even if you're just talking with people about what you want to do or where you'd like for things to go, I think it's important to do that. We need each other.
Yeah.
I think stuff like this, like even last year, as horrible as it was, I think hopefully what it taught us is that we need other people. We need to interact and have those moments where we can create or just be with other people.
Yeah.
I know that's something that, like, even teaching classes now online, I find that is what most people say on online, is that they are like, I'm so happy I have this.
Yeah.
Because it really makes me feel connected, and it's so hard when you're, especially during quarantine when you were supposed to be in your house all the time. So I think it just proves that, what we do creatively, whether it's improv or whatever, is very cathartic and very helpful for people.
Mm-hmm.
So there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to add to that.
We matter.
I'd like to add to that, though, Martin, because, as we were going through that program, how long was that? Was that 3 months, 6 months? I don't remember how long it was.
It felt like because our
We
show
kept
kept getting extended.
That's
I felt
why.
like
So it was
a year.
originally 3 months, but it ended up being like over 6 months of time that we
Okay.
kept getting back together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, during our training, Martin, you continued to reiterate how important it was for us to recognize that just by doing that show doesn't mean that we're going to be stars. Doesn't mean, kind of like with Mark Duplass says, the cavalry is not coming. So you continue to reiterate to us to make sure that we stay creative and continue to create our own paths. And it's like, yeah, we know that, but then having a teacher who's always like pushing that narrative to remind us was really helpful, so that once we got out of it, it could have been easy for us to just forget about each other and go about our business and catch up here and there. But you kind of reinforced that for us. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Oh, my honor, man. I mean, and here's the thing. I'm just as guilty of not seeing my own, power of creativity. It's like,
Yeah.
it's very hard, because we're kind of in this business thing. It's this weird thing where you want to create, but there's a business around it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I just want to make stuff. But then you also
Yeah.
you also have to eat and pay rent, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that part.
And and everything's changing. Like the entertainment industry is changing, and we, hopefully, knock on wood, this whole thing with the way the business is dealing with, diversity, that it doesn't get lost, that it doesn't become just something that people are talking about for a year or two and then goes back to normal,
Mm-hmm.
But a way to do that is to try and find other ways to have your own thing, so that you're not dependent on these old business constructs that were constructed under, I don't know, maybe certain limitations. I think that's the next hurdle. I really do. Is that, like, what are the limitations of what was created? How do you expect the people that created the limitations to
Oh my
change them?
God. That was a crazy earthquake.
What?
Is that what that
Really?
was?
Oh my gosh.
I
Nobody
didn't
else
feel
know that?
it. Now I'm nervous. Am I going?
I'm nervous too. Where is it
We're
coming?
coming this way.
I'm in Mid-City. Yo, my whole everything
heard
just
it.
shook. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Where
Oh
are
my
you?
gosh.
I'm in Mid-City.
Oh no, I'm really
Is
close
it
to you.
coming?
Guys, we're gonna trend because we caught an earthquake in live time.
Ooh.
That's so weird. I didn't feel anything.
We'll put it in the show notes.
I'm so nervous. Okay.
Okay.
It's big.
But I actually, all right, hopefully no aftershocks or aftershocks.
Just sorry.
I kind of want to piggyback off of what Martin said, though. Yeah, I mean, me personally, I think for all of us too, I feel like this, I don't want to say blessing in disguise, but I feel like this downtime or whatever this year and a half was, I think for me personally was as a chance as a performer and an artist to kind of not be afraid of exploring like my artistry and my craft. Like, I don't know. I just feel like, I do feel like us going out into this is kind of gonna, not us specifically, but just like everyone else, I feel like it's gonna revolutionize the industry in the fact that it's making people aware that, there are so many stories to tell. There's so many characters that exist in this world and in this country. And you see, like me personally, I get tired of seeing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I feel like now, like you have so many artists and shows, like giving you something different, giving you something new and something fresh. And I feel like, I hope we don't get back to whatever we thought normal was before this happened. I hope people realize that there's room for everyone. There's so many stories to tell. And I feel like, at the end of the day, like everyone benefits from just like a variety of stories to tell.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hope, right? But that kind of brings us to this, right? I mean, like I said, this is amazing, right?
Yeah.
So how did we get here? That's on my sheet.
Tawana,
So,
how did
okay.
you get here? I feel like
Tawana.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
a lot.
Tawana.
Tawana.
All right. I'm new to StreamYard. I'm trying to do a full screen. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'll just look at the
You're
little,
good.
the little thumbnails. Of
Are you
guys.
recovered from the earthquake? Are you recovered?
A
from
little
the-
bit. A little bit.
I
Yeah,
cannot
I'm
believe
okay.
I did not feel that. I'm literally in Koreatown.
It was huge. It was huge. I
Wow.
got my
Wow.
Oh,
My
Rosa's
wardrobe's
mom
gonna
says she
fall.
loves us, by the way. Thanks, Rosa's mom, for watching.
Mom. Thank you.
Hi, Mom. Thanks for tuning in.
Boston.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So to answer your question, and I don't know if you were paying.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Denver?
Tawana's earthquake really shook her.
Oh no.
Tawana,
What's happening?
come back.
Yeah.
Okay, someone else might have to. I mean, I'll try and lead us into like the direction. Okay, so I met you guys. Well, I met some of you before this, but the thing that really brought this group together was the Bob Curry Fellowship,
Mhm.
which in 2019,
Mhm.
which was only a year and a half ago, and I swear it feels like forever ago.
It does, yeah.
Tawana, did the earthquake turn
Yes.
off your internet?
20 back.
I told you I was pressing buttons. All right, I'm gonna stop pressing buttons. Anyway, I'm like somebody's nana over here. So what I was saying, Martin, I don't know if you were paying attention at the time, but like when the pandemic first started, there was this thing called the Don't Rush Challenge. And so basically there's a song called Don't Rush. And so these women who were moms would be like in their pajamas, like taking care of the kids. And then they like take a makeup brush, put it up to the camera, and then they'd be all glam. And so is that Dora?
That's Dora.
Yeah.
Hi,
My little friend.
so I was like, I want to create that, but I wanted to do it with toilet paper since it was such a toilet paper like mania around that, and I wanted us to like make a hat or a dashiki or something crazy out of it. And so I reached out to everybody, and nobody knew what it was really. And so then I explained it, but I think I reached out to the entire group.
You did.
So I'm about to be shady right now.
Yeah.
So shade, no shade. Because I reached out to 16 people, and 2 of them did get back to me and say, I can't right now. I got other things going on right now. And then a couple just did not respond at all. But it really started out with, I think, 10 of us and then got down to 7. But we jumped on a Zoom, and then Bobby was talking about, oh my God, improv is so bad on Zoom. And so we were like, it is. And then we hung up, and I was like, I think that's it. So then we got back on the call, and then we were meeting every week. And from there, we hashed out this show called Saved by the Improv. And I don't even know who came up with that name, but somebody pitched it.
Collective? Was that Josephine?
Oh, Josephine.
Josephine.
Okay.
I was like, I don't remember.
Josephine knows who said it.
I did.
Well, we
She's
all
always
put in
gonna
our
know.
ideas and then we voted. But
Yeah.
Oh, right.
you know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
celebrate when mine gets chosen.
No, that's good. Claim it.
That's right.
Oh, I claim all my titles from Second City. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, that was my title. I thought of that.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
As you should.
Yes.
rightly
And then-
so.
So okay, so so Saved by the Bell or Saved by the Improv
We got him. We got him already.
was the first iteration of this group.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I watched but I watched the 55-minute one was y'all just talking about stuff and showing and then you showed a video while you were doing that. But that's not what Saved by the Improv is. What Saved by the Improv is the actual, like, you get together and you improvise as Brady Bunch
It's a
Square.
full show. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
full show we did of like teacher Rob, Bobby as our teacher,
Mhm.
poor teacher, having to deal with like, the real trials and tribulations of trying to teach online, which I'm sure you're familiar with a little bit, Martine, of like,
But
What it's
also
like to try-
teaching a BIPOC class that nobody wanted to teach
Yes.
because that was so
Yes.
prevalent at the time.
Yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah. It was.
And then
yeah,
it was-
we had a few. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay.
No, yeah, no, we had. I think that was. Yeah, we like. It was interesting because we like kind of. It started off as like, yeah, he's just teaching Zoom through No, he's teaching improv through Zoom. But it became more than that when like the stuff and like all these comedic institutions started coming out, and we kind of like added that in there. And then we kind of gave Bobby's character like a nice little arc, and all the other characters too that we were all portraying. Like everyone had a nice arc, and I think what we did was the reunion. It was supposed to be like the reunion.
Was the live one, yeah.
Yeah, that was the live one.
Yeah.
Is that the one where everybody was getting mad at each other?
Yeah, yep. That was it. Yep.
Yes,
That
that's
was
the one.
every episode, Martin.
That's kind of like any like reality show at the end when the real shit hits the fan. That's,
Yes.
I am familiar with the reality show.
I know.
But I to jump in here, I really feel like one cool, I mean, there's so many cool things. I'm so glad I wasn't in the first call, so I'm glad that they accepted me the second time around. I know I couldn't be there. I don't even remember what happened.
No, you said that though. You did. You emailed. You said that you were doing something with Groundlings, I think. Whatever it was, but you were doing something. You responded.
But then I came. I'm here. But but what I love is like we learned so many things too. Like I did not really know how to edit when I first started doing diversity hire comedy, and I feel like editing, writing, like things that I like wasn't thinking about as an artist, like we kind of all just kind of learned how to do things on the spot. And I'm like, oh, but it's helped like with auditions and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, I can edit that so fast because now this is easy. Or thinking about lines in a way as an actor to say like, hey, like I should write it like this because if someone's gonna edit this, they're gonna need this line over and over again. So I think that's something super amazing that I'm like, I appreciate coming out of this whole experience is just like all the technical skills we've also had to learn to get this done, you know?
But that's, I mean, I think, I'm sorry.
No, I just said we got better and better with each episode.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, though. I think that's the thing that stops a lot of people. I know that I'm guilty of this. Is that you are like, I should do this, and you're like, I don't know how to do it. You know, you're like, oh, no, I don't know. And you have to be kind of comfortable. I mean, you would think as an improviser, I'd be comfortable with failing every once in a while. Only every once in a while, though. You have to like try to do something and then have it go wrong so that you kind of know how the next time I need to watch that, or I need, and that's, I think that's like, even though doing those stupid music videos that are not stupid. I like them.
They were fun. Yeah, they were fun.
I don't know why I said stupid.
I mean, you had to think of a lot of dances.
Yeah.
That was work.
But the thing about it was I was like, I don't know, like, how am I going to do this? Like, I just want to do this thing where I, because I was missing dancing and I was getting a little large, and and I was home like so much of the day. It was like I got to find something to do. So and then it was like, well, how do I get the songs to match up? Like, I don't want to do the live, just my phone's recording of the song, because then it's going to sound terrible. So then I had to figure out how to match up a track to where I was when I was dancing, all that stuff. And it's like, oh, cool, that's fascinating. So now that now that they're doing auditions online, or like online, and or you have to send them in, I'm like,
right,
yes, 100%. I had like 6 self-tapes the other week, and I was like, because of my skills with this group last year, it's just not a problem. And even my commercial agent, even too, they were like, Terry, your professionalism has not gone unnoticed. I just want to let you know that. They like texted me that specifically. Like they're always really, I do them quickly because I know we always have a deadline here. I'm like, I do them as soon as I get them, and I'm just doing them faster and better. And like my own cinematography has gotten better. Do you know what I mean? They're like, we just kept, it made me upgrade it and be more conscious of my setting. And like you said, we have to make our own stuff, like our favorite shows on TV, from like, I don't know, like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and like Issa's Race, like all her stuff, and like Michaela Cole, all her stuff, and like all these people, we love them. But it's like, it's because they all made their own stuff and they started there. And so just that makes me feel like I'm on the right track. And also with these amazing collaborators, I always feel like I get so much just after a conversation, even if I'm tired going into 5 o'clock on Thursday when we meet up. like I always come out energized after and like ready to go make more things because y'all inspire me so much, like across the board. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
Yay,
you
same here.
should be really, really proud of yourselves for, taking something that that can be seen as a negative and creating something positive out of it. Because a lot of people did not do that. And I mean, I'm not saying that they're bad for not doing that, but if you're going to have that time and you're going to have, literally nothing but time, then what are you going to do with it? And I think that's, I know that when for myself during 2020, there was a time period where I was like, I don't know, I don't know what do I do here? What am I doing here? And eventually, humble brag, I wrote 2 pilots. What's gonna happen with them? I don't know, but I wrote them, and they're there.
Yeah.
And and I did the dance videos, and and the whole time I was still like, am I doing enough? I'm probably not doing enough. I should be doing more.
Felt as well. And then after you say about the improv, we're like, what more can we do? We are a group that meets every week, and we have so much talent. So it's like, what more could we do to kind of like continue that trajectory after Saved by the Improv?
And that's why we're here now. We did this. We made a bunch of videos. And we challenged ourselves, for the month of March, doing March Madness, basically. And since there's 7 of us, we each took a day of the week. And then, we got a theme from our audience and made, different videos each week underneath that same theme. It's just fun and the joy of improv of like getting that suggestion with the audience. Because that was one of the things I think we really missed was that portion of being on the stage and getting inspiration from things that weren't our same 4 walls every day.
Yeah.
And having that as an impetus to like set us into another level of creativity. It was just so cool to be reminded that, everyone can hear the same words, but everyone's going to come up with something vastly different, like worlds apart different with the same header or title,
And to build off of that, Terry, like it was like a treat every day because we didn't preview what we were going to do to each
That's
other.
right.
So it was just kind of like, ooh, what are they going to do on their day? So to just see what everybody created was amazing. But also the opportunity, because I'll speak for myself, but I was struggling because I was like, man, life is not funny right now. Like, what am I going to do that's funny? Like, I don't even know if I can do this. And so when March came and we did that, I was just like doing things I had never tried. I've never mimed. Most of that stuff I was like, besides Marie Jean-Pierre, everything else was new. And so I feel like it was cool to be working with this group and challenge ourselves, but also to kind of just see what everybody created. Like Tress's version of terracotta, just like, I just couldn't. I was like, what is this?
It was a legit herald, Martin. People
For real.
And I struggled with the herald.
So good.
Who cares?
Yeah, that's kind of like
herald.
I love
Sorry,
it.
go for it, Josephine.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that's one important thing for those who are watching that have been wanting and feeling like they want to start something, but aren't sure where to start or how to start. And I think it is important to start. And if you need people, to find people that truly that truly have your back and that will celebrate and encourage what you bring to the table. Because for me, part of the trap of the acting industry is that people always talk about competition, right? Like, oh, there's so much competition out there. But I feel like on a higher level or higher consciousness, in my opinion, there is no competition. What's right for us is ours. What's right for others is theirs. And so in the same way, seeing how each of us took the same suggestion and made totally different things is a reminder of how we celebrate our uniqueness. To me, that is diversity, right? What is our unique point of view? What do we bring to the table? And then how do we incorporate that into our arts? And how do we incorporate that into our collaboration?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say exactly what you were going to say, but not as so eloquent. It was just, for me, it was like, it's dumb and whatever. But I kind of felt like Wu-Tang, in a sense, where like everyone in Wu-Tang has their own specific style.
Right. Oh, I love that.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So like with us, it was kind of like, yes, I have no idea what Tress is gonna do, or Terry, or Rosa, Josephine, Botswana, but it's gonna be different. Yeah. So if you tune in Monday, you're gonna see something different than what you're gonna see on Tuesday. And I think that not only benefits the audience because they're getting something new, but that also benefits us as a union, because I think before that, I think the undertaking that we took was like, and for me, it was kind of a break, because if we're saved by the improv, I always broke. Like everyone was so good, and I like messed up so many takes.
Someone had to be the Jimmy Fallon. Someone had to do it.
That's what I was gonna
Someone
say.
had to do it.
But it was also something. It was also something new and something different. It's not like, oh, it's not another web series. It's another challenge in a sense. It's something that's going to make us stronger as a unit and be more entertaining for those that see it. So, yeah, I mean, it was a blast. Like, and me personally, I was just like, I saw somebody suggest this. I'm like, I don't want to do that. But, you know, you get pushed up against the wall and you rise to the occasion. You just come up with what you come up with.
Yeah.
One thing that I will say, though, it wasn't a competition at all. But like my day was Thursday, and, you know, Oscars would drop and Rosen's would drop. And I'm like, man, those are good. I got to up my game. You know, so it pushed us to create even more.
That's the good part of competition.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not, I think people confuse. I always used to say this to my students. It's like, it's not competition like I got to kill that person. It's not gladiators. What it is like, if you're on I'm going to use football because I'm a gay football fan. Yeah. And, I'm not a fan of gay football. I am gay and I love it. But if there were gay football, I'm sure I'd be a fan of that as well.
There actually is gay football. They're just not coming out yet.
Oh, I heard about
that one guy did recently.
Yeah, that just happened this week.
Shout out to NASA.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so but oh shoot, I just lost what I was.
Oh, you were talking about it's not gladiators.
Okay, so when someone like, you don't have a team that's just a quarterback. If you have a team that's just a quarterback, then you don't have a very good team usually, unless you have like Dan Marino, which pretty much he was the whole team. But you have someone. So someone has the ball, the quarterback, right? It's a great quarterback, right? But if he doesn't have a receiver that's good, there's only so much he can do, right? Yeah. So when the receiver has the ball, he has to be a star, right? He has to be a star in that moment. Everybody that's blocking for that quarterback has to be a star doing what they're doing. You know, if they're not good, then none of it works.
Yeah. Right.
So it's about, it's about making each other better.
Yeah.
Not about destroying people, I mean, there are different ways of looking at competition. I like people that are like, oh my God, that person is so good. I want to be good with them. I want to meet them up there where they are. They're so good at that, or there's that. They're so good at that. And I'm good at this other thing. And if we can find some way to make the things we're great at work together, then that's a whole another level of great, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way I like to look at competition. I don't, I think people, you look at it in a really effed up way.
Yes.
Yeah. I think our group is actually just like what you described.
Yeah. I think that's most good groups are. That's what happens. Okay, so there was a thing on the list.
We're on the list
that I'm kind of interested in touching on, but I don't know how long we're going to spend on it. But because we already talked about the Bob Corey Fellowship, which is a show, a showcase show that we did at the Second City here in Hollywood in 2018 and 2019, and they do it. They've been doing it at the Second City in Chicago for a lot longer than that. And then COVID happened, and then a little issue came up.
Oh yes.
A little upheaval.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing, but
it was great.
It can be traumatizing a little bit, but yeah. So I'm interested to hear what you guys like. What came out of that for you?
Oh, I can talk about that immediately.
Please,
because
yeah.
I've been at Second City training since 2011, and I never really left the school. I was kind of like that high school kid who never left. And one of the things that always stuck with me is I wasn't good enough. I don't know. I can't grasp this. I can't get this. How come I can't get this? So I kept taking classes here and there, whatever. And so the revelation of the institutionalized racism helped to reveal that there was something in place that was causing people who look like me, who are not white, to feel incompetent. And once I realized that this was happening because I was on a lot of the, what do you call them? The town halls. I was on all of them. So hearing people talk about it in LA, in Chicago, in Toronto, then I was like, oh my gosh, this is so insidious. But what I was creating is not true. I was just meant to feel that way. So if that's not true, then what is? So as that was happening, this group was happening, and me feeling timid in this space of I don't know, whatever, but because we're forcing ourselves to now write things, I started to recognize that I understand comedy structure way more than I've been giving myself credit for. And once it's kind of like Maya Angelou says, once you know better, you do better, I believe is what she says. So with knowing that, now everything that I do with my commercial auditions, with my comedy auditions, with anything, it's like I'm reading stories like, oh yeah, I know what this is. And now going back to what Rosa was saying, is like now editing, I was just on something a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, they got to have this as a blow because they keep showing this part, but they got to show this part, but it wasn't in the script. And then later on, the director's like, okay, so now we need to do that. And I was just like, yes, okay, so I know what I'm doing after all. So that's really what opened up for me. And it was a great revelation, although, so many people were hurt in the way that they were hurt. But, we're moving past that now, and hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any comments?
I mean, for me, it was shocking to hear. Like I guess, knock on wood, I didn't experience a lot of things that other people did, but it still didn't hurt to hear or know that people that I knew experienced that. And it's just, for me, it was just kind of like an eye opener, and it just like, I don't know. I feel like we put a lot of emphasis and a lot of weight on these institutions, and we forget that the people make the institutions.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just the building. It's who's in that building that creates whatever history or legacy is in there. And if need be, let another institution be created. Like, it doesn't need to be like, I love SNL. I grew up watching SNL. I'll just use that as an example, but SNL is in the end all be all of sketch comedy.
Right.
There are so many other things that have come and gone that have been just as great, if not better. So, I mean, I think that the same goes for any of these institutions. I love Second City. I would love to go back there and, perform there again, but it's just like, you need to get your shit together. I'm sorry. Like, get it together, make it right. And if need be, other institutions can be created. I mean, it's happened before. We've had
it's already happening now.
Yeah.
It's happening now. So it's kind of like, I mean, for those that ever felt like undervalued or overlooked, it's just like, you are valued just like Tawana. Like, you know your shit. I can curse on this, right? This isn't like
it's unlisted right now on YouTube. You're good.
So it's kind of like, be confident in yourself. You know what you're doing, and get other people and create something. Don't depend on what's already been there. If you're a part of it, great. If not, that shouldn't stop you from creating something new.
Yeah, and I think here's the thing. I also fresh to LA. So I've experienced like 100 years being here for 3. But Bob Curry was like my first intro to Second City Hollywood. And so I actually feel really lucky that that was my first intro.
Yeah.
Because to have you as a director, Martin and Lorna, and this group, my experience was so positive coming out of there. So to what, when Tawana was talking about the town halls, when I was listening, I was like, oh my gosh. You know, I had been in other theaters, obviously in Boston. I had been performing in other theaters. So it wasn't like I've never heard of these things happening, but it was, I was like, you know what? I'm actually really happy that I came in at this point, because I think my experience could have been a completely different story if I had come prior or I had been there so long. I was like, I'm glad the diversity experience was my first experience at Second City Hollywood. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
I was so struck in during that time thinking of all the teachers, all the directors that I've had over years and years and years, and they were all white, you know?
Yeah,
right.
And I never even thought about it until all of that was happening. And it's just like, how come I never even thought about it? You know, it was in my face the whole time. Literally, Martin, you were the first person of color as a director / teacher for me. And I just thought that was normal, I guess, you know, for my whole, all the training. So I couldn't believe it. It was like an atomic bomb that dropped off for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I will even say, oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think it really brought to mind this idea and this conversation of generational trauma and the shame that comes from that. Because, again, I feel grateful that I went to Second City a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and was able to do the Bob Curry Fellowship, which, again, Martin, like, you just created such a loving and supportive environment for us to really tell our stories and collaborate together. And so that was really powerful. And then going to these town hall meetings and hearing people speak their truth and acknowledge, which I think was the most powerful, that they did not deserve to be treated that way. Because I think the idea of shame is that, like, if I feel like I'm not worthy or enough, then whatever someone tells me that mirrors that, I believe it's true. But that is not the truth, right? We are all worthy. We are all enough. We are all here on our journeys. So I feel like that was important, that started to come to light, and that people started to take their power back, and that Second City actually addressed it in a way of putting the money forward, of hiring outside companies to really begin to make changes. But I agree. I think, you know, all institutions have their time and place. I hope Second City continues to thrive and flourish, but that doesn't mean there aren't more places for people of color. And in one talk back that I attended, people of the global majority to take their places, take back their power, and really honor that those stories that have been lost need to be found and told, and that the new stories and new journeys need to be celebrated and acknowledged and told as well.
Yes. Because to build off of that, just my just to add was just more that what was interesting about Bob Curry, this group, is that even when we were at Second City, we took a lot of initiative on our own to market, to do drop-offs to casting directors. Like, all this stuff to me was so inspiring to see this group. And again, Martin creating the space and encouraging us to do that. Leaving Second City with that, I was like, man, this group is amazing. Like, and it was a reflection to your point, Oscar, about it's about the people. It's about what you make of the opportunity that you're given, you know?
I think
we were so lucky to get together as a group.
What'd you say?
I think we can do all that during that time period. I don't even know if Diversity Hire would have been formed.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I think we kind of, in a sense, had a bond going through that process. And so it really, you know, and then when Tawana was like, hey, you know, who wants to like come and do some things? And then it just kind of snowballed, and we kept doing it, and we just stuck with it. And here we are, you know, this BIPOC comedy group, from that, just doing those simple things of just meeting an hour before rehearsal, kind of.
We did business class before.
We did business class.
We literally did.
We had food.
Business class, potlucks, like snack rotation.
Yeah.
Like, we had like built in the habit of meeting.
Shout out to Quincy for like the marketing tutorial.
Absolutely.
Giving us Bonnie Gillespie marketing 101. It was great.
Yeah.
But I think too, like, to go back to what Martin said about the competition, is just like with a lot of groups, I think it's kind of like, that's what makes this one so special for me, is that I feel like in the past, it'd be like, yeah, I did this fellowship. You work for as many weeks, you perform, and then that's it. You know, people go their separate ways. You maybe become Facebook friends or follow each other on Instagram, and maybe one or two will work together. But like, it's about half of us are working together still, and it's not just working together. We're supporting each other. We're pushing each other. And it's just like, that's, you know, just that time, again, it's about the people. It's about what you create with that people in that time.
Yeah.
And I think, Oscar, didn't you say several times you're used to being in groups where you're the only one that does anything? And it was so refreshing that in this group.
I mean, I hope they're not watching, but
they don't know who they are. They don't know who they are.
I hope they are.
But that's not the case in this group, so that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. You know, I have to bring this up also because I feel like this was really the light to the stick of dynamite that really helped us to be like, oh shit, we're onto something here. And it was after we had formed, or maybe, I don't know how many episodes we had done at this time of, maybe it was just the first episode of Saved by the Improv. But as we started to create our social media pages, and as soon as we made the Facebook page public, we got a contact from, what show was this? Like a Colbert show or something.
Colbert, Late Show with Colbert.
Yeah. Like maybe like
the next
an hour,
day.
right? It was like hours after that. And they were like, we're looking for diverse writers. Would your team submit a packet? And we're like, what?
Right.
So it was like immediately, that was divine order telling us that we are on the right track of creating our own content. And the power behind that, because I'm going back to Mark Duplass again, because he was talking about, you know, actors are always seen by directors and writers as like, hey, always afraid that the actor is going to ask for something. Hey, can I be in your show? So they're always kind of like have this arm's length with us. But once you're seen as a creator, a writer, a director, because you're doing your own stuff, then now that they're like, oh, you're a creator like we are. So yeah, come on in. And so it was just eye-opening, but I also really feel like that was the match that we were all like, what? Okay, let's really do
dig in.
Let's dig in. Right.
Let's get these ideas. Let's get these things going.
Right. I was like, yeah, we need to make more. Then that's when we're like, okay, we're gonna make more. We're gonna do more. We have to challenge ourselves. Like after that, we're like, people are actually watching. Like big people, like networks are like, we're on the radar. We in the mix. We in the mix.
And then we should do a sketch every week.
Yeah, I think that was Tawana's idea, and I'm like, that's the one thing I love about.
Right.
It was a fever dream Tawana had.
Yeah, I love waking up to these texts at like 7 in the morning.
She gets on up at like 3 in the morning though.
It's a pitch, like this is what we're doing. And I'm like,
hear me out, guys. Okay, check it.
All right.
I'm just up. I'm just doing stuff, meditating, counting my crystals. Okay.
She was like, higher consciousness sent this message to me.
I took a walk around the block. I had some water. Check it.
I gotta say, Tawana, your apartment is really nice.
Oh, thank you. This is so.
Every one of your videos where you showed your apartment, I was like, "Is that a set?"
My museum.
Let me tell you something, Martin. The first commercial audition, when they're like, "We want to see your home," and I was like, "What?" And so immediately, I just started making shit look like sets. So it's this little section right here that's movable. But thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
It was intentional.
Yeah. I mean, I know this isn't about me, but no. But there was that whole thing was very. I don't know if you guys were you guys on the meeting
when you broke down, when you had that realization.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was heartbreaking.
But it was. Well, you know, but it's weird. I was just thinking about this the other day. It's like I'm older, so it's like I have an experience of life where I went to Chicago in 1994, and there was this diversity push, and I happened to be there when that push, not when it began, but in its early days. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it was like, oh, wow, good for them. I mean, I think that's a smart thing to do, and of course I was like, oh, can I get in, so for me, it was always this thing of, oh no, we're doing the thing. That's great. And, for a while there, Second City was the only one that was even trying, so when all this happened, part of me was like, what? And then what's funny is that meeting that we had, I had told that story 5 million times. Never had any emotional reaction to it other than anger.
Right.
And it was anger at the person. Right. Yeah. And I don't know what happened, but as soon as I started talking about it, and I don't know if it was because I was being witnessed by people that were there when this happened, and how alone I felt, and how I didn't feel like I could say anything, because if I said something, more than likely I was going to be gone. And I couldn't get through it. I started crying. And it's difficult because a lot of the people, first of all, anybody that was a fellow actor of mine, that was an ensemble member of mine, the only people I ever got notes from were straight white men. Mm-hmm. Right. Nobody else ever gave me a note.
Yeah.
And, that was at the first, the first 1 or 2 shows, I was like, oh, okay. After that, I was like, you don't get to give me notes. Yeah. You're not my director. This is not your show. If you worry about your performance, I'll worry about my performance, and then people started seeing me as bitter.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Gotta label it. Yeah.
Right. Of course.
So, and I was like, I forget, I made a joke one time, and I said, well, the only bit I have is bitter. And and I made the joke, but then just all through all this process, I was like, oh yeah, I made that joke, but I'm not. I mean, I guess I am bitter. I mean, I don't know. Is it bitter to be upset about?
No, right.
Those things? I don't think that's bitter. I just think it's being upset about something that's upsetting.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, these were my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this weird thing that happens. My friend, but now it's like, oh, but they shouldn't have said that.
Yep.
No.
They shouldn't have done that. And I didn't feel power because they were my friend. I didn't feel empowered to say, hey, buddy, I don't like when you say that.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't want to rock the boat.
Right. Yeah. And you're by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's this, this. And I think that because of being an older person and growing up, half of the 60s, all of the 70s and, and the 80s is like, for me, it was like, no, you do your work.
Keep your head down.
You'll get recognized.
Yeah.
And then then you'll get promoted, blah, 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 blah. And then I slowly realized, no, that's not how it works. The people who get moved up faster are the people who go into the office and say, hey, why haven't you moved me up?
That's right.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I would sit there and wait.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're forgotten about.
Yep.
Because
I
didn't think I had the power.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't feel empowered to do that. And my parents didn't feel empowered to do that. And that's what they taught me.
Mm.
Yeah.
You have to demand it. You have to go in and demand it.
This is the thing is that is the systemic thing. It's generational.
Yeah.
My parents were like, don't rock the boat, just do your job. You'll get your recognition.
Keep your head down.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Whereas my white compatriots were like, you want something, you go ask for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, to be honest too, like being the only, even when you are a person that tends to be empowered, I think it makes you question a lot of things. Like what you were saying, Tawana, it starts to make you question your quality of work. So even if you were that person going in, being the only one, there's so much you're adapting to. There's so much you're like questioning in your mind, and you're so easily labeled, right? Like I know when I walk into a room, I'm very loud. I like have a like deep voice that can sound aggressive, right? But I'm like a very kind person. But when I've spoken up, I've heard that, right? It's like you're just angry because you get labeled as the angry Black woman. And in my mind, I'm like, angry? I'm so like, bubbly. But I think like there's so much pressure being the only one, and you're processing so much in such a small amount of time and space. So in addition to what you're saying, Martin, and because I don't know that component in terms of time frame, but I would imagine even with that compiled with being the only one, it's hard and frustrating, and you just want to belong,
Yeah,
absolutely. That is the thing, is a feeling of belonging, and I had it I mean, again, this is what is so like, is that I had it, I enjoyed it, I loved my friends, I loved creating with probably 98% of the people I work with, I really, really loved. I just loved working with them. That 2% was like, okay, they'll be gone. But then it's the other part is, but I am alone. I'm alone too. There's I'm the only one of me. I'm still the only one of me that has ever been on that stage.
Wow.
A gay and Puerto Rican. I'm the only one on the main stage. Well, both stages.
That's crazy.
That is.
But
crazy.
but the thing about it is, you were talking about SNL earlier, and I remember hearing. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot, but I remember hearing that when around the time we were doing Hispanic Attack, we went to do a little show for some. I can't remember the name of the group, but it was like a Latino honchos group. It was like a lot of rich Latinos, right? And so, and they were, we were going to do a few scenes from our show, and all I kept hearing was about SNL. We got SNL to hire a Latina. We got SNL to hire a Latino. We got SNL to hire a Latina, and they were so proud that they got. I think it's Melissa. Is that her name? Yeah. She. I guess she was their pitch. I don't know, and I don't know how they got to talk or like have any say in that. Well, that was their opinion that they got her on that show. But it's like, why are we so proud that we got one Latina on a show that's been around for 45 years?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
To the point they had to do the whole sketch about not having enough Black people on the show.
Yeah, that's so annoying to me that we're sitting there waiting in line saying, "Oh, Mr. Michaels, would you please let one of us on your show?"
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that if you get Lorne Michaels in your pocket, then you can, even if your stuff isn't that great, you're going to get on TV.
Oh yeah.
If he likes you, it doesn't matter if you're good or not, right?
Exactly.
But there's a lot of like I was saying earlier, somehow I mean, it might be too late for me because I'm in my 50s, but somehow people have to start creating the Black Lorne Michaels, the Latino Steven Spielberg, you know what I mean?
Now.
All of that stuff has to happen, and it has to. And the real problem is going to be the people who have the money, the executives, the studio heads. None of them are diverse.
Right.
And they've been in the business their families have been in the business forever. So why are they going to change if they've been making tons and tons of money?
Well, that's why we have like a lot of these great, the millennials and the Gen Zers are not here for any of it. Right. So they are totally creating, they're not even going to a studio. Right. They're just like, okay, so if we look at like Issa Rae, and she purposely started writing because she couldn't get hired as an actor. So she went back to Stanford, got her degree, and then started creating was it Black Awkward Girl?
Awkward Black Girl.
Oh, excuse me, yes. And then we're seeing more and more of that in all areas. Was it Alternativo? We've got, it was a Hentified now. We've got, I mean,
Array with
Array. We've got Aquafina. I mean, people are not playing with these people anymore, right? And so they're going to start dying, and uprising is continuing on. As Bill Burr said, they live too long.
Yeah. Here's my I don't want to say pessimistic, but here's something I've noticed though, is that these things are happening, but they're not happening on network where the real money is, right? You're not seeing this on network. You're seeing it in the streaming. And what do they do on the streaming? They pay less. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, why, when we're getting diverse, it ends up on these things that don't pay as much?
Right, because it has to show proof of concept over there, right? So if we think of if we think about Tyler Perry and how no network wanted him at all, and then finally TBS or TNT, whichever one, was like, all right, well, no, but before that. And so they were like, all right, we'll do this. And then he said, okay, well, I'll only work with you if you give me 100 episodes straight out the gate, right? So he walked in demanding. So even though he's on this little cable network that you really got to have that package to get it, he still built his audience to then build, what he has today. So we can't minimize the. I mean, you're right. Yeah. Why is it only in these these areas where the big dollars aren't yet? But we talking about is it Tanya Sriracha? I mean, if we're looking at, we know that we have to just take this little morsel right now, and then we grow it into something bigger because we have we're visionaries, people of color, we're visionaries, but we know how to just stay quiet and just smile and do what you got to do. In the meantime, we're staying up late, making blueprints for grander things.
That's a fascinating point, because I don't remember who said this, and I don't know the exact quote, but it's something to the effect of, you gave us cornmeal, and we made cornbread out of it. You gave us pork parts, and we made barbecue out of it. You gave us this thing, and we made rock and roll out of it.
Yeah,
right. You didn't give us anything. You gave us crap, and then we turned it into something amazing.
That's right.
And now everybody is listening to our music, is eating our food, is, you know what I mean? So I wish I had the actual quote, but I don't. But that's such an amazing, to me, way of looking at it. And I'm sorry, I just we were supposed to show a clip of this Robert guy. Are we going to do that?
Oh,
that's
sorry. We didn't practice that.
Oh, I'm like, what?
I do want to put in here though that I love what you just said, Martin, because that reminds me of alchemy, right? That we are alchemists, that we can transmute, we can create change, we can take things that are ugly and that are painful and make them into things of beauty and surrounded by love and light. And I think that to me is truly the artist's journey. If an artist has heart and an artist intends to uplift the world rather than tear it apart. And I think one thing I just want to point out in that, Martin, what you were saying and what we've been talking about that seems really powerful to me is the power of words. Because there's a lot of conversations that are happening nowadays about how the passive voice often happens in times of tragedy, right? Of these perpetrators who are creating crimes, it's switching around, so then the victim's the one who's at fault. And so, Martin, I hear you that those people were your friends, but I think we need to remind ourselves that friendship doesn't tear down, that toxicity can lie in the people that live closest to us, and they can either uplift us or they can tear us down if we let them. So I really think it's a reminder that words are powerful and that speaking the truth, a toxic friend tried to tear me down, and I finally spoke my truth. And the relief, I had to cry about it because the pain underneath the anger was too much that day.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I needed to let that go. So whatever that is, I think it's just a reminder that like oftentimes the perpetrator will say you're too sensitive or you're too angry or why are you getting mad? Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Something happened and I am upset about it. And this is my truth. And this is why.
Yes.
And so being able to speak those truths and finding community that supports us in those truths, I think is really, really important as we continue to move forward and heal and help ideally the world to heal and become more connected and more loving towards each other.
I love that.
So well said. Yes.
And we're here telling our stories now. People want to, people didn't want to hear our stories, but now that there's room, there's space, and we're telling our stories and people want to know these stories. They want to know who we are because it's such a, a broad range of talent, of people from all different backgrounds. And we're all on this platform together. And so it's like, yeah, there should have always been space for us, but now there's more space for us. And here we are. And we're going to tell you about who we are. And we're just as funny. We're just as talented and compelling and interesting and full of life as everybody else.
And I think that for me, like the danger for me is that you have to be diligent even after everybody thinks it's settled down.
That.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you can get lulled into thinking, oh, it changed.
No.
It's like, no.
Don't trust you anymore. Nope.
And then you just got the whole 2000s with nothing.
Yeah.
It's complacency is dangerous because once you get complacent and you're satisfied, then what are you living for? What are you working towards? Like you always have to be working towards something greater. You always have to be evolving somehow, and you can never be like, okay, work is done, we're good, we did it. No, you don't do it because as long as the world continues turning, things are going to keep happening. You got to keep turning with it. You got to keep fighting. If there's something that you want, you can never be satisfied. You can never be complacent or lazy. You always got to keep fighting. So even if it's even going back to like your Martin's example, it was just like, you got the one Latino. Well, what about the other Latinos that are just as funny, if not funnier?
Absolutely.
It's just like it should never stop. It should always be an ongoing battle, and that's part of the creative journey. Like you always have to work. You always have to do that. It's just like, I don't know. Me personally, like I turned 40 this year during the pandemic.
So cute.
So you hear stories about people like, I'm going to give myself 5 years. And then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But it's just like, if you love something, if you feel like this is who you are, if this is what you're meant to do, why would you give yourself an expiration date?
That's right.
Why don't you continue doing something that you continue to do? Because, if I were to stop doing it, like the reason, before this, I was doing YouTube videos and I still do. And I'm glad that I'm working with these guys, but it's just like, if I wasn't doing anything, especially during this pandemic, my soul would die because this is something that I love to do. And it's just like, if I'm not doing it, then who am I? What am I? And that's something going into this pandemic, knowing in the back of my mind with a little glimmer of hope, this is going to end. But who am I going to be after this ends?
Yes.
Am I going to be the same person, or am I going to be a butterfly? Am I going to grow from my cocoon? Like, that's the thing. It's kind of like this time, and I think for all of us as a unit, we took it to grow individually, collectively, and I'm looking forward to see what we do once we could go somewhere without a mask and see each other's knees. I'm looking forward to it.
We can do sketches together.
Yes, it's a good place to end. We're at time, so
we can film things together as opposed to isolated in our homes.
Now you have your short film festival.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone
Lovely to hang out with you guys.
Thank you, viewers.
Happy birthday, Martin. Are we going to sing Martin happy
That's
birthday?
right. When's your birthday, Martin?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Ah!
He doesn't know.
Is it 28th?
27th.
27th. Okay, my father's
Sunday.
I knew it was close. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3.
Happy
Which version we singing?
Happy birthday.
Oh, wow.
And a 5, and a 6.
Birthday to
you.
This is why karaoke birthday is really bad.
Happy birthday
Sorry.
to you.
Gotta do that Stevie shake.
We love you. Thank you for everybody for watching. Thank you so much. We love you.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you so much. Bye.
So great to see you.
Oh, great to see you.
Bye.